Hello, everyone. Today, I am gonna be talking about a video that my friend sent to me yesterday. And there was one line in the video that completely stopped me in my tracks. And it said something like, the only way you escape competition is through authenticity. This one sentence explains so much of why we feel stuck, drained, and competing in a game we don't even care about winning. So, here is what I want for you by the end of this video. I want you to finally understand why that competition never feels like peace and will never do, and why authenticity is the only way out. And if we haven't met in the YouTube world, my name is Edith, and it's an honor to speak to you today. Here on this channel, you'll find practical tools on how to live in alignment, how to build this rock solid self trust, and how to live a life according to your aspirations, to your desires, and not according to other people's expectations. And if you feel like you're the one who built fairly successful life, a good one that you should be grateful for, but you don't feel like you're fulfilled inside, this channel is for you. So thank you for taking some time out of your busy day to spend with me to talk about you. So let me ask you a question for the beginning. Do you ever feel like you're doing well in life, but it feels like you're not living your life, but maybe life for someone else? Maybe life of other people's dreams. It feels like your true authentic self is just watching, sitting on a couch, eating popcorn all day because they just watching. And you tell yourself and others tell to you to be grateful for living in a fairly good city, for having this family, for having a partner, for having such a great job that it's high paying. Well, they're partially right because gratitude is incredible tool to activate the highest frequency in you and to literally lift yourself up. However, the gratitude for things that are misaligned with your true beliefs will never work long term. Misalignment will be still there. It would, in this case, feel like treating the symptoms and not the real case. It's always a sign, a hint to maybe continue or to maybe pivot somewhere else. Nothing else. Don't judge it. Have a huge compassion for yourself, patience, because this takes time, but at the same time, you want to keep the sense of urgency because it's only in your hands. And this should feel good to hear. Because maybe it's not that you would be ungrateful or maybe you would just ignore all the blessings that you got, but it might be the fact that you have learned and you have been taught to work and to achieve mainly for approval of others so much that you completely forgot how it feels to walk and to act from your true self. And this is what we need to look into and what we need to solve. And we're not going to solve it today. It's not that quick, unfortunately, or maybe fortunately. But today, I'm going to give you the main first steps that you can take if you really feel like you want to make the change. And this is your sign to make it. Most of us were raised on this belief that life is about being the best, trying to be the best, striving for the first place, being the best student, being the best employee. We're even given an incentives for that. The employee of the month gets a 1 week vacation. You're taking it out of your vacation and your boss might call you a few times. Employer of the year, you get 13th salary. Best student, you get a chocolate. Authenticity is truly alignment. The fact that your thoughts, the things you say, and the things you do are matching. It's when your words, your yeses, your nos, your promises finally stop fighting with your gut, with your true intuition. And you stop second guessing yourself, you stop overthinking, and finally, you will start creating instead of competing. Imagine it's like tuning an instrument. Once it's in tune, the sound cuts through all the noise effortlessly. And that's very naturally what happens when you live in tune with who you really are. And you don't have to force it even. And people truly just start to feel it. They will feel different around you. You will feel different around them. And the right people will be attracted. And let's get into the process. How you stop being in this competition that feels so draining. There is first question, again, you need to answer with honesty. And it is a very, very simple question. Where in life are you pretending right now? Life isn't complicated. We are. This question is so simple. It is ridiculous. But we as human beings, most of us, as I observed, we believe that something that will truly change our lives for better or that will be something of value should be difficult. And so when we are faced with solution or when we are faced with some task that should help us and that should get us to the point where we want to be, and it's so simple, we just ignore it. When was the last time you truly sat down and asked yourself this question with the intention and with the expectation of your own self that you're gonna be honest and that you will really put in the effort into formulating and verbalizing a good answer so that you even understand yourself? When was the last time? If your life doesn't feel like a lined one, you have to be pretending somewhere. You have to be doing something that is draining you. And in the long term, it will lead to burnout. So, in what part of your life you're playing a role that is not really aligned with you? Maybe it is working and being somewhere where you're constantly thinking about, other things, other roles that you want to be. So this is the first step. Identify the role that you are not truly. And mainly it can be in your family, it can be in your relationships, it can be with your friends, it can be in your job, it can be in your spirituality, in the things you believe, like your religion, and it can be in the environment you are in, the place you live in, the city. But this is just few of them. I believe I covered like most of our lives. And yeah, instead of job, you can work with like education, with the school, and yeah, go through all these areas of your life and audit them. Are we really satisfied with our feelings from this relationship? You don't really care about results here. That's also important. You care about the feelings, the gut feeling that you have when you think about this particular area of your life. And in my case, it was the decision whether I should go the corporate route to graduate college from economics and then go work in a company somewhere, or whether I want to do something on my own, whether I want to create something that I didn't see here in the world. So this was more risky. It also was connected with music because I love music and I always loved music so much. And I basically said to myself, okay, I'm going to finish the school, but I know that I will be starting to make music and I will start to learn how to produce music. This is basically the main reason why I'm doing this channel, why I'm sharing it with all you guys, because you better know that I was feeling very miserable when I wanted to go that corporate route. I'm not saying at all that it's a bad way. I'm saying that it's not good for me and that it's all subjective. It's nothing but subjective. So when I say that I didn't want to go the corporate route, I'm not implicitly like advising anything. It's just really my own story. Maybe someone will find themselves in my story. And if yes, and if this video or any video from my channel should help, that's the purpose of this channel. In the first part, I needed to audit something. I didn't want to even like wake up early anymore because I used to wake up early, super early. I had this grit in me. I had this, joyful life as I do have now. But then there was this period of life where I was like, I just don't know. I don't even want to think about it. I don't know where I'm going. This feels so bad. It doesn't feel like this is the life I signed for. No, I don't know. This is what I would usually answer. And it was truly so chaotic and so like disappointing feeling to think about my life, to think about where I'm going. And so I needed to do something. I still was reading, I still was, from my 12-year-old version of me, I was journaling. And so when I felt this, I knew that something is weird, something is wrong. So I really put all my time or my free time into journaling, trying to figure out my life. So this was the first step. I needed to look into all the areas of my life, with no exception, and to ask myself, where am I pretending? Because, as also Jim Carrey said, this thing of pretending, I believe he is talking about depression. It wasn't the real him. So here is a proof that you can get a $10 million check on your name and you can be still depressed, because this is not the real you, even though people love you.
It's like the one thing, like people talk about depression all the time. The difference between depression and sadness is just, you know, from happenstance, whatever happened or didn't happen for you, or, you know, grief or whatever it is. And depression is your body saying, fuck you, I don't want to be this character anymore. I don't want to hold up this avatar that you've created in the world. It's too much for me.
Right.
You know? And so a friend of mine who's a spiritual teacher has a really good take. His name is Jeff Foster, and his take on it is that they should change. You know, you should think of the word of depressed as deep rest. Deep rest. Your body needs to be depressed. It needs deep rest from the character that you've been trying to play.
Right.
You know?
Truly so subjective. So before anyone gives you advice, listen to your own voice, listen to your own gut. And then when you have a certain, like a solid draft of your decision, you can listen to their advices. But just know, usually it's not relevant, because no one can be truly in your shoes. So with that said, I went through the whole, audit, and then I went to the second part, the hardest one. I should follow what feels like me, what feels like a true me. Well, that's for execution a little bit harder. In addition, if you're an overthinking person, to strip away from opinions of others, to strip away from the feeling of being embarrassing in the first, few, maybe even years. But I'm telling you, these few embarrassing years, these are nothing compared to 40 years working somewhere where your soul is literally like not there anymore, and you are living this monotonous life just because you weren't willing to sacrifice these maybe few, maximum 5 years before you would get really good at something, and then you would thrive and believe that there would be no regrets. Whereas if you were working in a field where you're clearly being drained day after day, but you are like, I'm too scared of, making a new decision. I've already established everything. What would you do if you could do anything? What would you do if you couldn't fail? This is what I ask myself. This one question, what would I do if I couldn't fail? This is so profound and so liberating. It just breaks off. It puts you back into the 7-year-old child that you were once, with those big dreams, with no blockages, with no narratives, with no, inherited beliefs. It truly gives you this sense of potential, this possibility, dear belief that if you do something for long enough, you cannot fail. You only fail if you quit. Write and think like no one will read it. Try to be as raw as possible, even if it feels so impossible right now, what you have in your head. But I believe that you have something like some dreams or some ideas that you will be like, you throw them away immediately. The moment they come back, because they're coming back, you put them away. You're like, oh, no, 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 no. Not having any wedding salon, not having any new franchise. Impossible. This is just your wording in your head. Know and remember that once you stop trying to fit in, once you stop trying to not disappoint your grandfather, once you stop trying to prove something to your enemies, if you feel like you shouldn't be in that flow with other people, with the mass, and you want to go somewhere else, you're gonna be in your lane. Who will compete with you when you're in this lane alone? There is no competition. The system can't compete with your soul, with your truth. If you stop chasing, if you stop running to that first place to be better than Jessica, to be better than Jane, to be better than, I don't know why am I still saying words that start with J. You attract what is truly yours. But you can do that only by choosing to change things that aren't aligned with you in your life. I'm not saying that you're gonna be like, by wave of a wand, you would be like, okay, I feel good, I feel better. I am aligned officially. It is simple, but it is not that easy. But that's the filter of people who truly want it and the people who just are somewhat interested in this. You have to be invested into this to get the fruit out of the tree. And I know how much work is that. I know how much patience you have to have with yourself. And I knew that in that point where I was miserable and I didn't know what else to do, I just needed to figure everything by myself. And it took me so much time and so much misunderstanding with other people, which is actually okay. You don't have to be understood by everyone, but it is always better to have someone here that will understand you completely and will even support you and will give you always the push and the grit that you will become absolutely unstoppable with. And since I realized this, that the power of community is so important and so great, and just because I believe in this so much, I'm gonna give you an invite link into the description of the video for the Alignment Society that I've just started. It's really like a baby community, but I believe that the value that I'm providing is going to help you tremendously, and as it helped me, it's literally like a sum of things that got me here. And this is where I feel truly aligned, and also in my music. And this is exactly what we're building in the Alignment Society. It's the space for ambitious, courageous people that know that there is something more in their potential, but that aren't really having any people that would understand them and don't have the guidance. So if you want to be in the first 20 founding members, I'm so excited to give you a guidance and to give you the support that I needed so much. This is basically everything that I had for you. I hope that you've taken some value out of this video. I'm gonna see you next time. Stay awesome